And welcome to Mornings with Ken Rosato. It is Wednesday, June 3rd, 2026. We will take calls at 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. 59 degrees, a little warmer than it was this time yesterday. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Garden State and California forecast, the two primary states. Good morning, my primary meteorologist friend.
Good morning, Ken. Yeah, we started off, after a great day yesterday, weather-wise. I think we can beat it with today's stunning weather, sunny skies, clear sky all around, and the afternoon features a little bit of a warm-up, not just today, but over the next few days. Look at the clear sky right down the coast. Well, except for Florida, still running with the clouds and showers there. It's that pretty stubborn omega block pattern that keeps the clear sky around today and keeps our weather a little bit cooler. However, that's been the trend over the last few days. That starts to break down beginning today, meaning that northerly breeze that's been delivering all of that lovely, dry, refreshing air gives way to a little bit of a southwesterly wind that actually brings back some warmth into the picture by tomorrow, with highs that will be approaching 90 degrees by tomorrow afternoon. You can even add a little bit of humidity in there for good measure as well. So all the clear sky for the last few days has been thanks to that high pressure, driving down a nice northerly breeze, keeping us dry. Look at the Midwest, where all of the storms are located, even back out west, have had a little bit of a marine layer each morning with the clouds and low visibility. Again, due to that omega block. But we finally see this change, bringing back a little bit of a drier, warmer pattern with all of the clear sky around and a lovely southwesterly breeze, pushing in some more humidity, especially by Friday. That does mean some more clouds even for Saturday, but I think we stay dry, not anticipating any steady rain at least, as we just had a few passing clouds overnight. We've got more details on what to expect over the next few days with that warming trend. That's coming up, Ken, in just a few minutes.
All right, sir. Appreciate you very much. It is 56 degrees northern New Jersey right now. We have a temp of 59 in Trenton, California, Los Angeles 62 and 63 degrees. San Diego, we take a look at traffic. Just a couple of things to tell you about. We have a truck fire now on the Turnpike Outer Roadway, southbound, south of Interchange 9 by Route 18, East Brunswick. All lanes are open, but the vehicular traffic, or the vehicles, I should say, have been moved to the right shoulder. So that's going to be a mess, people crashing or trying to get through that area. Pulaski Skyway, we have a crash, and that is northbound by Tunnelly Circle in Jersey City. Right lane of 2 lanes closed. Garden State Parkway, there's a crash northbound exiting 143 in Irvington. 1 lane block there. And then on 280, there's a crash eastbound west of exit 13, Orange Street. In Newark, right lane of 2 lanes closed. The Hudson River crossings, Lincoln and Holland both reporting 20 to 25. GWB, upper and lower levels. Take a look at this right now. We have a lot of traffic actually building up for this early hour. Upper level on the right, lower level on the left, and that's going to cost you 35 to 40 in already at 4 minutes after the hour. Off to Los Angeles we go. We have a collision in Santa Fe Springs. This is on the 605 at Alondra Boulevard. Another collision. This is on the 105 at the 605 Santa Fe Springs. And a third in Santa Fe Springs. I don't know what's going on in that town at the 105 and the 605. So 3 incidents all in Santa Fe Springs, all to be careful of if you're passing in that area. New Jersey voters went to the polls yesterday, as did California voters. But in New Jersey, they decided which candidates they support for one of the state's 2 U.S. Senate seats, all 12 of the state's U.S. representatives, and a large number of local positions that are open this year. The winners from each political party will face off in the general election November 3rd. The only statewide primary race was for the U.S. Senate seat that is currently held by Democrat Senator Cory Booker, the incumbent. He ran unopposed. Of course, nobody in his party would run against him, a powerful U.S. Senator. On the Republican side, 4 candidates competed for their party's bid to challenge Booker in November, but it was conservative South Jersey Attorney Justin Murphy who squeaked by with about a third of the vote. One of the key House races in the Garden State was the 4-candidate contest for the Democratic nomination to challenge Republican Congressman Tom Kean Jr. in the state's swing 7th district. Democrat Rebecca Bennett was the clear winner there. And in South Jersey's 2nd congressional district, Republican incumbent Congressman Jeff Van Drew will face Democrat Zach Mullick. In the Golden State, the Republicans there made an extremely strong showing, both in Los Angeles and statewide. In the race for governor, Republican Steve Hilton will face off against Democrat Javier Becerra in November. Hilton is a native of Great Britain who only became a U.S. citizen exactly 5 years ago last month. He was endorsed by President Trump. Well, that helped change things. He was doing well before, and that kind of pushed him over the top. He was the top vote getter in a state where Democrats outnumber Republicans nearly 2-1. And in the race for mayor of Los Angeles, Mayor Karen Bass is the first incumbent in 21 years who failed to get a clear majority of the vote during the primary. So she will now face Republican Spencer Pratt in the general election. Mayhem on the streets of Atlantic City yesterday as two police officers were shot and the suspect was killed. It happened about 3 p.m. on North Florida Avenue. The officers were executing a search warrant when investigators say the suspect fired shots at the officers, striking both of them. The officers you see on your screen, or one officer there, that officer there standing, he had life-threatening injuries. The other officer did not. We're not going to say his name yet because it hasn't been confirmed, but there is a GoFundMe set up for him. Just make sure before you ever donate to a GoFundMe, make sure you have the right GoFundMe. There are a lot of fake GoFundMes and whatnot. Bottom line is that is the officer, but we don't want to say his name until we can confirm it with police. The officers were able to fire back that individual and his partner, hitting the suspect who died from his injuries. The Attorney General's office is now investigating whenever there's a fatality involving police officers, either on the receiving or the giving end. The Attorney General in New Jersey has to do the investigation. That's New Jersey law. 8 minutes past the hour, and federal agents uncovered a sophisticated drug smuggling tunnel connecting San Diego to Tijuana. The tunnel stretched about 2,000 feet. It featured electricity, ventilation, and a rail system. God knows how many people or how much drugs was transported through that tunnel over the years. Investigators linked the tunnel to a suspicious discount store called Buy for Less. This sounds like an episode out of Breaking Bad. This is exactly the kind of stuff that happened on that show. Apparently, authorities seized nearly 2,300 pounds of cocaine worth over $45 million. 4 suspects were arrested and charged with drug trafficking offenses. Officials say the operation dealt a major blow to the Jalisco New Generation Cartel. A North Carolina police officer was charged after video showed him repeatedly punching a woman. Doorbell video allegedly captured Officer Carson Hyder striking Cherry Moore during an arrest. Another officer appeared to intervene before Moore was handcuffed. Moore suffered injuries, including a possible broken nose and a cracked lip. Hyder was fired following an internal review and later surrendered to authorities. 4 inmates escaped from a jail facility in Uniontown, Alabama, after overpowering 2 correctional officers. Authorities say another inmate faked a seizure to lure guards into the dormitory housing unit. The 4 men then climbed several barbed wire fences and fled in a waiting getaway vehicle. 2 escapees, Johnny Dave Harris Bush Jr. and Jaden Christopher Maxwell, were recaptured within 2 days. 2 others, Marquavius Billingsley and Kevin Gunn, remain at large and may be armed. Individuals, or investigators, I should say, believe the escape was planned using the jail's video chat and texting system, and a woman accused of driving the getaway car has been arrested. President Trump appointed Bill Pulte as acting director of national intelligence. Pulte currently leads the Federal Housing Finance Agency. If you recognize the name, his family owns Pulte Homes, those custom-built beautiful homes. So this is one of the relatives in the Pulte family. He will replace Tulsi Gabbard when she departs June 30th after she resigned due to her husband's health. He has bone cancer. Pulte does not have a traditional national intelligence background, but then again, who really does, unless you're an investigator for the police. Pulte gained national attention for several prominent political, or rather, he gained attention for investigators involving several prominent political figures. A permanent appointment would require Senate confirmation, so he may only be the interim appointee at this point. The Justice Department said that it would comply with a court order blocking its anti-weaponization fund. The proposed fund would have distributed up to $1.776 billion. Now, think about that. That's 1776. So there's a point to that number, 1.776 billion, to victims of government targeting. A federal judge temporarily halted the fund following a legal challenge. The administration strongly disagreed with the ruling, but accepted the pause, and a court hearing on the fund's future is scheduled for June 12th. Iowa authorities are investigating a mass shooting that left 7 people dead. Police say Ryan Willis McFarland allegedly killed 6 relatives before taking his own life. 4 victims were found inside a home in Muscatine, Iowa. 2 more victims were discovered at separate locations in the city. McFarland died by suicide while speaking with officers on a local trail. Investigators continue processing evidence and have not released victim identities. Coming up now on 12 Minutes Past, and excuse me. When we come back, Miami Swim Week is always one of the biggest events on the fashion calendar. Having lived in South Florida, I can tell you it is enormous. New Jersey fashion expert Dawn Del Russo will bring us all the details. She spent some time down there. She saw the bikini briefs up close, and she'll tell us about it. Plus, meteorologist Mike Favetta's full forecast, not a bad one, kind of a rinse and repeat of yesterday. And we will take your calls at 888-658-0234. 888-658-0234. You're watching Mornings with Ken Rosato. We're now live on the East Coast and the West Coast, on New Jersey, ONNJ for the East Coast, on LACA for the West Coast, and now in Florida on FLA, onfla.com. We're back in 2 minutes. Please don't go away. And welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato for your Wednesday. Can you imagine we're already into June and it's already a Wednesday. We're just kind of flying by. We are live on the East Coast and the West Coast, both in New Jersey, New York, and Connecticut area, and of course, Los Angeles, San Diego. It is 15 past the hour. We will take your calls at 888-652-34. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the forecast near you. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Ken. You know, that pollen has been proliferating around New Jersey. You've seen it on your car top. You know, the car kind of needs to change the registration to the different color with from whatever the car was painted into a nice, lovely shade of yellow green. And yes, if you want to draw on it, you can too. I know you like to draw on your car windshield, right?
In different languages. I do it in 5 different
Mm-hmm.
languages just in case people don't understand. Lava me, wash me.
It's gonna take a lot, and you just run your finger across the card, and it's like, wow, this is bad. But this is the case. It's been so dry. You see the trees dumping the pollen across New Jersey. The grasses also an issue too, and the weeds are relatively high heading into the next few days. So we need a good soaking rain to clear that pollen out of here, and I think it's going to take some time, even as we head into the weekend. Really don't see any rainfall until Sunday. So Most of Saturday is dry, even Friday, very warm. We'll likely get into the 90s this weekend with a touch more humidity, and then by Sunday morning, could see our first showers appear here on the board. Most of them arriving throughout the evening on Sunday, and then lasting into early Monday morning before clearing. They probably linger even through a good portion of Tuesday. So it's another kind of stuck pattern that puts us under some clouds and showers. The good news is that we get most of the weekend in nice and dry, especially on Friday, where it looks to be the sunniest and clearest. As that high pressure sinks south, we get more of a southwesterly breeze that pushes in. And then you see this big weather system trek across the country. That's what's going to deliver our showers and clouds beginning early Sunday morning. Again, could have a chance on Saturday, but I think as it moves on through, keeping an eye to the sky for those chances by the end of the week. So we have that cooler than normal weather today, but I think going into tomorrow, it starts to warm up a bit, and that'll look very pleasant, especially as we head into the next few days into the weekend. So with all of that clear sky, keeping an eye down to Florida, which is kind of stuck under this very stubborn stationary front, and that's what's delivering the clouds and showers there. But out west, starting to clear things out as the marine layer has been pretty persistent each and every morning, delivering those clouds and low visibility right along the coast that extend all the way out into the Pacific. It's that breeze that's been allowing to come through thanks to that low pressure there. Other than that, waiting for the sun to return by next week as we stay clear right now, and we say goodbye to the sun for a few hours, I think later on into Sunday this weekend. So if you're making plans, the clearer and warmer half of the weekend on Saturday. Sunday looks to be a little rainy with some clouds. Plan accordingly, especially if you have time now to change those plans, Ken.
All right. Thank you very much, sir.
You
Appreciate
bet.
that. It is currently 58 degrees northern New Jersey, 59 Trenton. It is 63 degrees Los Angeles, 62 degrees now in San Diego. And we do have some traffic, a lot of traffic to talk about. In fact, Route 24, we have a crash eastbound by exit 2, Route 510, Columbia Turnpike, Madison. The left lane is closed. Turnpike, we have a crash, and that is on the I-95 express lanes northbound south of exit 71. So that's near the GWB, but nonetheless, that is still on the turnpike. Pulaski Skyway, there's a crash northbound Tunnelly Avenue, Jersey City, right lane closed. Garden State, we have a crash northbound exiting 143, which is Route 124 Irvington, with the one lane blocked there. It doesn't say which lane, but one lane is blocked. And the Hudson River crossings, look at this. This is the approach to the Holland Tunnel coming off of 78 on 139, and you can see those rightmost lanes, the left side of your screen, but it's the right lanes heading into the right tunnel, and that is bumper to bumper. That's going to cost you a solid 40 in. Lincoln Tunnel is a little bit better at about 30 to 35, and the GWB upper and lower heavy since we started the broadcast not too long ago. We'll see this on the upper. Oh, don't do that. Was that a cop? Maybe it was a cop. Then it was okay. Yeah, those are police, I believe. That's okay. They could do that. But I bet you they're going after somebody who was using the shoulder there illegally. That's what you do that, you will get a multi-point ticket. Do not do that. Like him. Don't do don't do what he just did, no matter how bad the traffic is, because you could get into an accident. People have died because other folks don't realize you're coming down 90 miles an hour on the shoulder, and they cut into the shoulder because they have an issue, and you crash into them. That is not what the shoulder's for, folks. It is 20 minutes past the hour. To Los Angeles we go. There's a collision, Santa Fe Springs at the 105 and the 605. Another collision in Newhall at the 5 and Roxford, and a collision in Baldwin Park on Rim Grove Drive. Well, it is 20 minutes past, and Miami Swim Week is always one of the biggest events on the fashion calendar, bringing together designers, celebrities, influencers, and the latest trends in swimwear. Or if you're a person of an age, you'll remember the commercial in which the actor says, swimwear and resort fashion. To tell us more about it is our New Jersey fashion expert, Don Del Russo of livetheglamour.com. That's livetheglamour.com. Don, you're not old enough to understand the swimwear reference. There was a I got to give it. This is back in like the 80s, all right, the early 80s. There was a commercial for Wendy's where they were talking about where's the beef. That was the big promotion that Wendy's had a lot of beef in the burger and that the other fast food chains didn't. So they depict people from Russia in this gray background, and they pointed out a Russian fashion show. And it was a bunch of overweight elderly women with like hair coming out of their chins wearing like tents, and that was the swimwear competition. They go swim there a bunch. Well, Anyway, you could Google it. You'll see on the YouTube.
I'm
All the
going
kids can
to.
do that. It's hilarious,
That's a good
actually.
one.
Anyway, good morning. So you got back from my other home in South Florida, Miami, Fort
I
Lauderdale.
did.
What was the overall style like for Swim Week?
This is my favorite fashion week of the year. I love going. It's so fun. It's a little bit lighter feeling than the New York and Milan and all those fashion weeks. But overall, I mean, this year specifically, lots of color. These are some pictures that I took when I was there. Lots of bright colors. It's always interesting because they do a lot of these runways over pools. So like the W
Hmm.
Hotel and hotels like that, they're doing the runways right over the pool. So that makes it even more like swim week feeling. Lululemon here that you see is in bright colors and really vibrant prints. They're all a brand that I love. They celebrated 20 years. They've been doing the runway shows. And every year they're one of the ones that I get so excited for. Monday Swimwear is another one that was French Riviera inspired, very elegant, very very elevated looks to their runways. And we pull a lot of trends from this, surprisingly, like for the summertime, for resort, for your travel and trips. So a lot of the inspiration that you'll see now going into like even the next year's like resort wear is going to come from these runway shows because they do only happen one time a year. So a lot of a lot of the prints and styles that we see will then transfer over for the next year.
Does the Miami Swim Week now, does it rank up there with all the world fashion? Because I know they all happen at around the same time, right? So they week after week after week, sort of in order. So is Miami Swim Week something that, say, a Parisian would come over to the United States for?
It's starting to get that way. It's a very interesting. I have been going for now, oh my god, almost like 13 years, and seeing it from when it first started, it was super low key, not a big of deal. And now, yeah, we're seeing a lot more. I mean, there's like a lot of Australian brands. They do a lot of swimwear, so we're seeing a lot of that, and that makes it interesting because you see those new trends come over as well when these other countries do participate. There's obviously one of the biggest known, the two big shows for me were the Reset and Uncommon James, which featured Kristen Cavallari. She is a reality TV star, and that show was like so big, so insane. Everybody wanted to be at it. The view was incredible. And then, of course, seeing someone that up close doing this collection was really like a suit. I mean, there was so much energy at this runway show. It was spectacular. And I will say, it downpoured right after that. It was like,
Yeah.
luckily the models were in bathing suits. Let's just say that.
Yeah, unfortunately, everybody else was dressed to the nines to see the show.
Yes.
That's the problem. But that's what happens in South Florida. Here's a
Yeah.
little tidbit that has nothing to do with fashion. It's been, I think Mike can confirm this. I think the hottest temperature it's ever been in like the state of New Jersey was probably in Newark, and it was like 112 or 113. I'm guessing that that's the number. But in Miami, we used to talk about this. And we call it the Miami. You know what the hottest it's ever been in Miami on record? 99. And the reason is
No way.
because what you said. Yeah, it is so humid this time of year that when the temperature gets to 97, 98, 99, you immediately have the convection currents. Mike explains way better than me, but it causes thunderstorms and that cools it down.
Mm.
So it doesn't, the atmosphere there basically doesn't permit it to get hotter than 100 degrees. You go off to Orlando, they'll get to 112. They're inland. But so when all your friends say, "How could you stand Miami in the summer? It's so damn hot." It's more humid than hot, but there you have
It's
it.
true.
So
It's
anyway,
so true.
I wasted a minute. I wasted a minute.
No,
One of
no.
the biggest celebrity moments, of course, came during the Sports Illustrated swimwear runway show, and you had Alex Earl and Bethany Frankel around. What was that like? I mean, they are icons, obviously.
It's actually so much fun to see. In the last few years, they've really gotten into having these type of celebrities. I mean, Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition, it's something we've known for a long time, has been like if you're going to buy Sports Illustrated, this is the one that everyone, no matter who you are, is picking up. And they've really started to incorporate a lot of these celebrities, influencers, stars that we know, but they put all body shapes on the runway. And there's a lot of talk about Bethany Frankel being like one of the oldest models. I mean, you wouldn't know. She looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
She looked incredible on the runway. I wouldn't even know the difference. They have, some pregnant women. They have, plus size, all different styles on the Sports Illustrated runway, which makes it a really fun one to go to. And you see that there's just so much fun behind it. It's becoming one of the must-go-to shows of the season.
Very cool. And by the way, for guys, are we more still with the boxer swimsuits, or are we into the silly European skimpy little silly nonsense? Because all the years I'm in South Florida, it's very rare that you see the little string bikini thing, unless the guy is like Mr. Bodybuilder. But yet you will see the guy from Romania or like Sicily wearing something that he has absolutely no business wearing, or the woman who has a butt with cottage cheese, and you're like, lady, do you not have a frickin' mirror in your house that you make me see this? I'm sorry, please.
No, actually, there are men in some of the shows. They do include them. Shan was a show that the men were in, and the shorts were, I would say, they did have some length to them, not down to the knee, probably like upper thigh. So they are a little bit more sleek. They have a chance to get a little bit better suntan, I would say, for men to wear, and way more fitted on the leg than like something really big and oversized, which I think I like to see more. It looks more fashion forward. So I definitely did see that. I think the theme was some bright colors, flowy fabrics, some mix between athleisure and sportswear styles too. There was a lot of that as well.
Awesome sauce. Yeah, I mean, that's the 1960s. They had that style. It wasn't the baggy boxer type short, bathing suit that went down to the knee. It was more clingy to the knee, to the leg rather, and upper thigh, etc. But it was respectable as opposed to some of the things that I have seen. I live on the beach, literally, so I see it every day when I'm down there, and it's not that I'm anything to look at. Believe me, I would tell people to shield their eyes and hide their children. All right, on New Jersey fashion expert Dawn Del Russo of livetheglamour.com. That's glamour with an Lamour. I can't even spell today. Thank you so much for coming on this morning. Go Miami. Love Miami. All right.
Yeah, you too. Thanks, Ken.
Thank you, Don. It is 28 minutes past the hour. When we come back, a children's story that was once rejected is being brought to life by Livingston High School students. We'll explain. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings, and mornings, for those of you just on the West Coast, you don't have to say the On New Jersey part. We're back in 2 minutes. Morning. It is 31 minutes past the hour, Wednesday, June 3rd, 2026. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato, live on the East Coast and the West. We have meteorologist Mike Favetta with the forecast, no matter which darn coast you are on. Good morning, Mike.
That's right. Good morning, Ken. A beautiful start to the day. It's a little bit warmer than this time yesterday, so we're adding a few degrees each and every day to the forecast. And with that, we have beautiful dry conditions with low humidity up and down the coast. Say for Florida, it's a little bit rainy there right now. Out in the Midwest, that's where all the action remains, with this block pattern keeping all of the skies clear across western parts of the U.S. into the Pacific coast there in California. Seeing those conditions likely linger with the little bit of, excuse me, a little bit of marine layer and the low clouds and fog right along the coast. Inland, you remain nice and dry on the other side of the Sierras, but even by Saturday, you start to see those clouds build in as this pretty persistent low kind of stays in place, delivering some gray skies by this weekend. So enjoy the clear blue sky right now, because I think you have a little bit of a change in the weather that comes up in the next few days. Out across the East Coast, we stay sunny and dry. Looks beautiful today. A little bit of a warmer trend tomorrow with the clear sky keep moving in our direction, but there will be a little bit of a wind shift, which allows for some more of those rains to take over by the end of the weekend. By Friday, you see them here across the Midwest, and then they start to march eastward, delivering some wet weather as soon as Saturday night, but I think most of it holds off until Sunday morning and kind of keeps us in a cool, cloudy pattern starting next week. So that dry stretch that we've come to love and enjoy kind of takes a little bit of a break as some wet weather heads to us for next weekend.
All right. Thank you very much, Mike. Appreciate that. 58 degrees now, northern New Jersey. It is 59 in Trenton, to the West Coast, 61 Los Angeles, 61 also now in San Diego. And we look at traffic, and we have a lot of it starting in the Northeast. Let's go to New Jersey. I-80, we have a crash investigation. Eastbound I-80, east of exit 4, which is Route 46, Knowlton Township. All lanes are closed. You can see the traffic in that little middle section coming toward us where it says my name, Ken. They're the ones headed in that direction. This is about a mile and a half before, and you can see it's only going about 5 to 10 miles an hour when they get to the point they're being diverted off. So it's an absolute mess. That's going to cost you an extra half an hour of travel at least. We also have a problem right now, a crash, in fact, and this is on Route 24. Eastbound, east of exit 2, which is Columbia Turnpike in Madison, New Jersey. Left lane of 2 lanes closed. And you can see what's going on there. So those folks in the left lane are basically stopped, and they're going to be diverted over to the middle and right lanes as they get closer to the accident. New Jersey Turnpike, we have a crash near the GWB by exit 71. We have a problem on the Pulaski Skyway, northbound Tunnelly Circle, Jersey City. The right lane is currently closed. And on the Garden State Parkway, we have a northbound exit exiting 143, Route 124, Irvington. One lane is blocked there. Hudson River crossings right now. The Holland Tunnel, very heavy from Route 78 to on the 139, making your way to the tunnel. Look at those cars there in the right 2 lanes. The cars in the extreme right are moving because they're getting off on a local road exit. But the 2 lanes there next to them that are stopped, they're going into the left tube, and they are absolutely bumper to bumper right now. Lincoln Tunnel, a little better. It's going to cost you about 30, and the Holland there you saw is 40. And the GWB upper and lower levels are very heavy. It's a solid 40, 45-minute ride. Upper level, a hair better. That's on the right. Lower level is on the left. To Los Angeles we go, and we do have a lot of collisions for this early in the morning. It's only 4:35 West Coast time, remember. Hit and run, no injuries reported. This is in Santa Fe Springs on the 5 at Imperial Highway off-ramp. In Baldwin Park, we have a crash on Rim Grove Drive, and then we have a road closure in East LA on the 10 at Walnut Grove Avenue. That's it. We had one more incident that has been cleared. 35 minutes past the hour, and Barry Farber has spent decades interviewing some of the world's most successful athletes, entrepreneurs, entertainers, and business leaders while building his own career as an inventor and broadcaster. Now a children's story that was once rejected is being brought to life by Livingston High School students in a special community production right here in New Jersey. Joining us now is Barry Farber, best-selling author, entrepreneur, host of Pain for Gain TV, and we say good morning to Barry.
Good morning, Ken. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Good. Thank you. Thank you. And I must confess, and I'm sure you've gotten this your whole career, I'm a broadcaster, radio guy in New York City for almost 45 years. Okay. I know I look 18. And when I saw Barry Farber, I said, wait a minute, Barry Farber died years ago. There was, of course, the famous radio guy, Barry Farber. You're not him, but
Yeah. No,
you
he
are
didn't
a
come back to life.
broadcaster.
He was a
No,
very close, yeah, very, very
but you're a
close friend.
broadcaster in your own. You do. Oh, you knew Barry Farber.
Yeah, very good friend, not related at all. But I had him on my first radio show in New York. Barry Farber interviews Barry Farber, who's the host, who's the guest, and we had some fun with that. A
I
great guy,
love it.
unbelievable.
Yeah, he was from the Carolinas. Had that little Barry
Yeah.
Farber. Had that little accent.
Ah,
He
this
was
is
great, but
Barry.
and he had one of the biggest national audiences. He was amazing. So, but
Yes, he was
you are
great.
not that Barry Farber, but nonetheless, you have a huge broadcast career yourself. So there's something in the name, right? That's great. Tell us about the traits that highly successful people all have in common, because there are some common traits, aren't there?
Well, one of the things about the children's book, The Adventures of Little Billy in Search of the Magic Tree, is what I did is I distilled. I work with athletes like Andy McDonald, skateboarder, to Evil Knievel, building a roller coaster for him, and being around these people and interviewing them for books, 14 books. We squeezed it down to 5 key traits, and those 5 key traits are all about service. How can I give back? Attitude, empathy, determination, courage. Those key traits that I wanted to distill and have in an entertaining way be shared with kids at a young age to give them the foundation early. So each animal portrays that trait. And what's exciting is, from the hardcover book, The Adventures of Little Billy in Search of the Magic Tree became an animated series with Otis Anderson, MVP of the Giants, as a voice of the turtle. Bobby Collins, a comedian, the voice of Bosco Bear. My son is the voice of Lawrence the Owl. So I was excited about that, but so excited the fact that the Livingston High School theater students are going to bring this to the stage on June 15th at 7 p.m. and kind of take it, and they've expanded it in their own version for a modern Little Billy of today. And it's quite exciting. I'm excited to share that with everybody. It's free admission, and we'll have some exciting guests there, including Little Billy from the book helps the animals. That's his goal, to find the
I
magic
love
tree.
it.
Well, what happens in the high school is that these kids put together this play where they've expanded in their own creative way to make the messages, to have the messages come across in a way where they're going to take it in the fall to the elementary and middle schools and put on the program there for somebody, ages, young ages. But this is going to be the first show where we're going to put it on to the general public.
Oh my gosh, Barry, that is huge, and good for you for taking the time to do that. And rejection is a big factor, isn't it? That successful people go through tons of rejection, but it's the fact that they don't, not that they don't fear it, but in spite of rejection, they keep moving forward. We had a child psychologist on just the other day, and we determined that basically so much of our resistance to move forward and progress is based on the fear of rejection. But people who are successful plow right through that, knowing that, you know what, these 80 people may reject me, they may judge me, but I'm going to move forward. Isn't that right?
So important with understanding rejection, setbacks, and when you have failure. People call failure something. I call it falling. Isn't failing. It's when we fail to get back up again and use that intelligence to move forward. But you have to have value behind what you're doing. With the children's book and the messaging, I can't resist, because not only does it give values for kids at a young age that are based upon research from thousands of people, but it also supports the Tamerlane Animal Sanctuary and Preserve, where Little Billy is made the ambassador, that he's helping these rescue animals actually save their lives, and getting people aware of that. So if you have tremendous value behind something, it allows you to not be afraid to come back, to be afraid of rejection. It's feedback. It's somebody telling you, who knows what they know. They don't know, you don't know if they have all the answers, but at least you have that value to know that I'm not stopping because I'm going to be helping this many people in a certain positive way. That keeps you fired up. Because as soon as you don't believe in what you're selling, you're done. And I think that's the most critical factor, the belief and value behind it, to help deal with rejection.
So now, how did you take the Adventures of Little Billy and end up collaborating with the folks at Livingston High School? How did that connection come together?
I made a phone call to the high school. I had an email. I got emails, and I asked him, I just asked him. I think people have been asking me, how did you get this to go? First of all, some people don't realize that ignorance and confidence and then success is sure. I might be ignorant of how a Broadway show is done, a high school show, a paper mill playhouse show, but if you just ask and learn, the work will teach you how to do it. And I believe that when I met with him and I sat down, he's a brilliant guy. Scott Pattison is the theater director. He's passionate. He loves his kids, where they just get so much enjoyment and creativity out of this. And when I told him about the values behind the book and the messaging that I wanted to keep going to the elementary schools and middle schools, he was, fired up about that's a great message in the book. So, we just continued from that. I sat and through it. I didn't make one correction. I just wanted these kids to have fun and keep to the strong values in the book, and then expand it in a way that you feel comfortable. And they've done an amazing job. I'm so excited for people to come on June 15th at 7 p.m. Monday night and enjoy an amazing performance by these kids.
That's awesome. What is a website to find out more about all that you're doing, and of course the performance on June 15th?
So you can go to barryfarber.com, BARRYFARBER, barryfarber.com, and you'll see 4 quadrants there, but there is the little Billy area where you can see about the show and about the animation and everything in there too.
I love it. Best-selling author, entrepreneur, host of Pain for Gain TV, all-around good guy, Barry Farber. Thanks for coming on and made that stage presentation, a little Billy, be fantastic. I love what you're doing, and thank you again for taking the time this morning.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
My pleasure, Barry. Thank you. What a cool guy. 43 minutes past the hour. When we come back, the primary elections have come and gone. Any surprises? We'll speak with the head of the Rebovich Institute for New Jersey Politics at Rider University. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the full forecast too, and we'll take your calls at 888-658-0234. You're watching Mornings with Ken Rosato. We're back in 2. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato. 45 minutes past the hour, straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta, who has the East and West Coast forecast. Maybe it'll sneak in a Florida on the side, too. Good morning, Mike.
I think we can do just that, Ken. Good morning. We start off this morning nice and dry and stay dry all afternoon. This big high pressure has been delivering loads of a northerly breeze, which is keeping us nice and dry, keeping the humidity at bay. But as that high starts to sink down to our south, a southwesterly wind takes over, and that means more humidity. As soon as tomorrow into Friday, you will feel a little bit more mugginess in the air, and it's also going to bring back a healthy dose of clouds too later in the day Friday and possibly even for Saturday afternoon. But I think the rain holds off until late Saturday night at the earliest, certainly around for Sunday by the afternoon. Once that moves on by, we're in a cooler pattern to start off next week, and it's not necessarily as hot, but that doesn't last because through the middle of June, warm air is forecast to invade most of the country, as is a little bit more wet weather down across the southeast. Dry conditions, or at least equal chances of rain for us here in New Jersey, but our drought continues, the moderately to severe drought across most of the state, nothing like the extreme drought down across the southeast. So the rain that's falling in Florida right now, much needed, Ken, as they're undergoing that exceptional drought for the last several weeks.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable with the drought. Mike, here's the question. What is the connection? You don't have to answer this here. You can answer this in our next segment. There's a tease. What is the connection between drought and demand? And is it that the amount of rainfall has changed or that the demand for water has increased? And what is the connection between? So you don't have to answer.
I can answer.
But that's
no, I can answer.
Oh, you can.
Because
Please.
Yeah, well, drought is because I just did a report on this for a client. Drought
I
is
love it.
specifically climate based, whereas looking at
Right.
the history over the last 30 years, the last 50 years, what are the chances of these big shore storms increasing and allowing for the rainfall, measured rainfall, to fall in these areas? Water, not water, aquifers and reservoirs and water storage. That's a different, ecological component that's not actually included in this drought. This is just rainfall
See,
behind me.
I knew if any human could answer that, it's Mike Favetta. And I still say if we could build a pretty much nationwide energy grid, and I say pretty much because there are sections of the country that aren't part of the national grid, they have their own, like Texas has its own. But if we could build a nationwide power grid, why can't we build a nationwide water grid and have so parts of the country, when we get too much water, funnel it west, and if they have too much water, funnel it. I mean, it's logical. I know it would cost a fortune, but if we could build an interstate highway and we could build a nationwide power grid, why not a water grid? I don't know. That's just jealousy between the governors of the different states. But that's one for the next report. I'll help you with that.
Okay.
I don't know what I could do. I'll do the autocorrect and whatnot, make sure there are no spell check errors. All right, Mike. Thank you, sir. We'll check back with you. It is 61 degrees northern New Jersey, 59 in Trenton right now. Los Angeles, we have a temp of 62, 62 also in San Diego. Quick check of traffic. Route 46, we have down wires, both directions impacted east of Cherry Hill Road, Parsippany Troy Hills. All lanes are now closed through there. That's a big area. I know it well, actually. Route 46, Parsippany Troy Hills. I-80 crash investigation eastbound, east of exit 4, Route 46. Again, no connection with the down wires, but that's by the intersection of 80 and 46 in Knowlton. All lanes closed there. So we got some serious stuff happening on the roadways. Crash on the Turnpike Express lanes at exit 71. Teaneck, right lane is blocked. Pulaski Skyway, we have a crash. Northbound Tunnelly Circle, Jersey City, right lane is closed. And on the Garden State, let's look at the tower cam if we have it, Pam. There it is. So you can see the Garden State Parkway. That's going up and down. See the traffic that stopped going toward the top? That is Garden State Parkway. There's a crash northbound exiting at exit 143, Route 124 Irvington with a lane blocked. Hudson River crossings right now. Route 139 making your way from 78 into the Holland Tunnel is bumper to bumper. Look at those lanes off to the left side of your screen. It's going to cost you 40 minutes into Manhattan. Lincoln Tunnel approach much better, 25 minutes in. GWB upper and lower levels, 80-95 approach. Upper is on the right, lower is on the left. Upper is better than the lower, but either way, it's going to be between 40 and 45 minutes in. To the West Coast, just a couple of things to tell you about really fast, because it is still very early there, obviously. But we have a hit and run, no injuries. Santa Fe Springs at the 5 and Imperial Highway off-ramp, and then another collision in Baldwin Park on Rim Grove Drive. Well, the votes are in. New Jersey's primary election has set the stage for some of the state's most closely watched races heading into November. And to break down the results, our dear friend Micah Rasmussen, director of the Rebovich Institute for New Jersey Politics at Rider University. I don't know if you got any sleep, Micah. You could hear my voice. I did not. Yeah, exactly. I'm with you, brother. In fact, the show, Pam, our director, is calling me, "Where are you? You're the camera." I'm like, "Pam, I'm still sound asleep." Anyway, good morning. So we
Good
had
morning.
some stuff that looked like it was expected, and then some stuff that was a little bit of a surprise. What did you make of what happened yesterday?
Yeah, for the biggest races we were following, like the right to take on Tom Kaine in the 7th district or to succeed Bonnie Watson Coleman in the 12th district, we got the results that we were expecting. And it doesn't mean that money is everything, but the candidates who were raising the most money, meaning that donors believed that they had the best chance, they were the ones who won. Um, uh, Rebecca Bennett, the former helicopter
Mhm.
pilot from the Navy, if that sounds familiar, voters liked her bio just as much as they like Mikey Sherrill's bio, and we're attracted to that. She was seen as the strongest candidate in the field to take on Tom Kaine, and now she'll do that. And so that's going to be one of the premier races we're going to be watching in the fall. Dr. Adam Hamaway, one of the most progressive candidates in the Bonnie Watson Coleman's district, is a saved Tammy Duckworth's life as a surgeon, has done combat surgery around the world, but has taken a staunch anti-Israel position and really pleased progressives in the race. He is the candidate who is going to be running in the fall in a very, very Democratic district. So in all likelihood, he's going to Congress.
Yeah, that was fascinating. There were a lot of people on X last night who were being very condemnatory of him, pointing out that he was the one of the people, I guess, during the original 1993 9/11, not 9/11, excuse me, the World Trade Center bombing, the first one in 1993, that he spoke on behalf of one of the bombers, and so
Yeah,
that was, of course,
well,
very controversial. So go ahead. I'm
yeah,
sorry,
yeah. The
please.
blind, yeah, no, 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 no. The blind shake was went to jail for seditious conspiracy in that trial. He was said to influence the bombers. Hamawi was a young Muslim student at the time. He was providing translation services for the sheikh. He says he had no indication that the guy was violent, was going to do what he did, but he did testify on his behalf. He testified as a
Yeah.
character witness on his behalf, and didn't really answer a lot of questions about that during the campaign. Obviously, didn't feel that he had to, and he was right. And he may not really have to, because again, this is not a competitive district. So he may have made the right call, but I don't think we've heard the last of this. I think this will be an issue
Mhm.
for Republicans, maybe outside the district, nationally going forward.
Yeah, in fact, there were videos on X last night of the gathering, his celebratory gathering last night, where he had his followers chanting Allahu Akbar, which, for those who don't know, I'm a former Catholic priest. I can tell you that means "to God goes the glory" in Arabic, but nonetheless, it is also what was chanted by the bombers. So people are conflating the two and saying that if in their minds, if you're chanting that, you have to be a terrorist, which isn't necessarily the case, but you can understand why people hearing that would be like, "What, are you kidding me?" So
This is a
that
really
that
this
was
is a tough issue because the Muslim community is understandably very proud of him. And
yes.
one of my former students who worked for CARE went on to work in his campaign, and so they are justifiably very, very proud of him and of his success. And so that's legit, and we shouldn't be looking at that with suspect. But again. I think there are questions. One of the groups that he worked with, strictly as a humanitarian doctor,
Mhm.
later was shown to have ties to Al Qaeda. That was of concern as well. But again, no indication that he was doing anything that he shouldn't have been
Right.
doing. He was providing combat surgery. But there are questions certainly that he was able to not have bogged down his campaign and was able to move forward. And really amazing. He did not win any of the counties in the district. He came in a strong second. So he had sort of broad support across the district. Every one of the counties in the district had a favorite candidate, and those candidates won in their home counties, but they didn't win anywhere else. So you had all these favorites doing well, but he was able to do well across the board, and so that was enough to get him over the top.
Interesting. And it was because there were so many candidates, right? There was how many candidates ran in that in that
There were
election?
13 candidates on the ballot, 12 were competing. Nobody got together, put egos aside, and said, we're going to have one strong organizational candidate who's going to go up against this outsider, this newcomer. And so as a result, they were very splintered. And there was some discussion among Jewish voters and others about a Stop Hammerly movement. Well, you can't do that when you've got 5 other choices splintering the anti-Hammerly votes. And so it allowed him to just sort of have a unified front versus a very splintered front.
Absolutely. Wow. We could do a whole show on that, and we probably will in the next few months now that we'll have the time. Fascinating, though, a lot. Just no matter what, don't rush to judgment, but certainly do your research before you vote for anybody. It's essential to do. You should always do. That's a responsibility as a voter. With about a minute left, minute and a half, are there any national races that you were even able to glance at and form an opinion on? Did you look at anything with California, or shall we stay with New Jersey? I didn't even get to talk to you beforehand about that.
That's totally fine. The problem with us looking at California this morning is that there are so many votes left to count. This is one area where New Jersey can be very proud. We had results within about a couple of hours. It's going to take California days. As we well know, they are counting votes in the days and maybe even weeks to come. And it's not a good system, and they need to figure it out because that undermines confidence when it takes so long to even know who the winners are. For big races like governor, for their primary, we won't know the answer to who has won some of those races. There are some races for Congress in California where it looks like Democrats could potentially get shut out of those jungle primaries. That's a troubling situation for them, clearly. We'll see if late-breaking Democratic votes can sort of pull that back for them. We don't know the answer to that yet.
And for those who don't realize, it's the laws, so the rules for election, not laws, but their election rules are, as long as the mail-in ballot is postmarked by 11:59 on election day, it counts. And they may not get it for 2 weeks. So however, the U.S. Postal Service, they they had legalized marijuana there before anywhere else. So however, whatever, I'm not implying, because we do have a channel there in California, but whenever it comes, it comes. And that's the rule, right? And that's what I know the federal government is working on, something like that to change that rule. But the Constitution talks about the states. The states make their own rules about their political system and how they vote. And that's why we're a union of states, not a national government to be handling that. So lots more discussion on that to talk about. We love you all the time, Micah. When you come on, especially a day after this, with your 2 hours of sleep, I know you have a busy day ahead. So we appreciate you very much. And we'll be talking to you a lot. I hope you don't mind in the next few months.
Thank you,
Micah Rasmussen, Director of the Rebovich Institute for New Jersey Politics at our dear Rider University, one of our fine sponsors. Thanks, Micah, for coming on today.
Thank you.
You bet. I don't know how the man, he has literally no sleep, and he's doing this for us. 59 minutes past the hour. For those of you watching on LACA on the West Coast, stay tuned for your local news. If you're watching on New Jersey, we'll be right back in 2 minutes. Don't go away. Very good morning, 8 a.m. It is Wednesday, June 3rd, 2026. Welcome to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato taking calls at 888-658-0234. Sunny, warmer today, slight chance of a shower, highs mid-80s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the full Garden State forecast up and down our kidney-shaped state. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Ken. It's like a dollar sign today, right? We've got money in the forecast. Beautiful weather today. So much clear sky around New Jersey. In fact, we look beautiful with a starting temperature of 70 degrees right now in Newark. Only warmer from this point forward. Even down the shore, a little bit cooler with temperatures inland in the upper 50s. That's just because it's dry. But we'll see a nice warm up through this afternoon. We're 13 degrees warmer than this time yesterday up in Newark. 9 degrees warmer in Hackensack. 11 degrees warmer toward Flemington. And the dew points are the temperature where the air is saturated in the 40s. That is dry. That's like October levels of dry, bringing back a very comfortable feeling today. But the humidity increases over the next few days, especially into tomorrow and by Friday with more of a southwesterly wind. So the futurecast shows a nice dry start to the morning. Temperatures in the 70s now on their way into the mid 80s with lots of clear sky today. Even tomorrow with a little bit more of a southwesterly wind, some of those increases in humidity will make it feel a little more like summer, approaching 90 by tomorrow afternoon. We stay sunny and dry, but bring back the clouds for Friday, and some of that cloudy weather likely gives us a little bit more of a gray sky to finish out the work week, leading to some showers by this weekend. So dry today, dry tomorrow, dry on Friday, but just more humidity at 93 degrees. And then with all that extra humidity and potential cloud cover on Saturday and a high of 95, that's our best chance of seeing some rain, maybe a quick passing shower later Saturday evening. But there are some more shower chances for Sunday. We'll tell you all about that coming up, Ken, in a few minutes.
All right, Mike. Thank you, sir. It is 62 degrees right now, northern New Jersey. 59 Trenton. It is 59 degrees also Cape May and 60 degrees in Vineland. Some issues to talk about. Pam, can you bring up the Route 4 cam? This is Ford 17. We have a crash that just happened. Crash with injuries. Route 4. This is by 61 in Paramus. The right lane of the two lanes closed. You can see police on the scene right now, and that is causing about a half a mile delay for the cars trying to get around it on the left. Making their way through. We have a problem now on the New Jersey Turnpike. Disabled tractor trailer on the turnpike outside of the exit for interchange 4. That's Mount Laurel Township, center lane blocked there. Route 46, we have down wires. Unfortunately, the camera's out there. This is Route 46 impacting both directions of traffic at Cherry Hill Road, Parsippany Troy Hills. All lanes are closed, so that'll be a mess. Pam, if you still have the I-80 cam from before, I'd appreciate that. If you don't, that's okay. We have a crash investigation, I-80 eastbound, east of exit 4, which is Route 46 in Knowlton Township. All lanes are closed there, and that's causing about a 2 to 3 mile delay right now on I-80. Garden State Parkway, we have a crash northbound exiting 143, Route 124 Irvington with a lane blocked, and your Hudson River approaches into the city. Right now, the Lincoln Tunnel is only going to cost you 20 to 25. Holland Tunnel, look at this. This is from the I-78 exit onto 139. So you're looking at Route 139, making your way into the left tube of the Holland Tunnel into Manhattan, and that's bumper to bumper. Going to cost you about 40 to 45 minutes in right now. Your better bet, believe it or not, is the GW Bridge, which is also very heavy. But take a look at the George Washington approach right now, 8095. Even though it's heavy, it's still better than the Holland. It's only 40 minutes in, upper level on the right, lower on the left, lower slightly better. It'll save you about 5 minutes. It is 8:05, and youth sports have become more competitive than ever. So some doctors are now raising concerns that the push to specialize earlier and train harder may be taking a serious toll on young athletes. And we're now seeing injuries in kids, little kids too, that used to be reserved for college and pro players, like ACL tears and even Tommy John surgeries for the pitchers. Well, Dr. Kareem Mayer is the medical director and head team physician for the Denver Broncos. He's an orthopedic sports medicine specialist with Common Spirit Health, and he has the best camera shot of anybody who's ever done this morning show. My gosh, that's great. You're in Cooperstown, Dr. Mayer. Good morning.
Good morning, Ken. Yeah, I figured when they called me about this, I was like, I think I'm going to be at the epicenter of youth sports. This would be a perfect backdrop. I'm here with my youngest son, 12-year-old, in Cooperstown with about 1,000 other 12-year-olds from around this country, hoping to be the next MLB Hall of Famer.
Oh my God. Well, I remember my little, well, now he's not little, he's 30, but my nephew was
Yeah.
involved there and he went there years ago. So I remember that's such a cool place and what a great place to be a kid athlete to go and check that
Yep.
out. It's iconic. So talk about
That's right.
why we're getting younger and younger sports injuries. I mean, the idea of someone who's 13 or 14 needing a Tommy John surgery because I guess that's basically because of the way you flail your arm when you pitch. Why is it happening more today than, say, years ago?
Yeah. I mean, I think when you take this backdrop here, the opportunity to play baseball is just prevalent everywhere. And so the younger and younger kids are getting involved, and it's year round now. It is, you could play baseball summer, fall, winter, spring. There's always a time to play. It's not, when I grew up, you went from football season to basketball to baseball. You just kind of rotated sports. Nowadays, these kids are ultra specializing in one sport. And some of these kids, I mean, I'm witnessing it here in Cooperstown. You got 12-year-olds that are just bigger, faster, stronger than honestly I think the 12-year-olds maybe you and I grew up with.
Hmm. Yeah. And by the way, I love the fact that you're from Denver. Denver is just one of the most beautiful cities for those who've never gone. It's such a clean, beautiful, pristine. I know it has its challenges like every other city today, but what a great place. But you guys still manage to have sports year round. I have nephews down in Florida who literally, depending on the month, they're in a different sport. It's soccer, it's baseball, it's football, it's everything. And one of them has now had his third break. I think he is 11 or 12 years old. He's already had 3 bone fractures in the last 4 years at that age because of the year-round sports. So it's, I guess, exactly what you're talking about. They're really, and these kids love. They don't care about the breaks. They love their sports. But it's going to
Yeah,
happen more and more just by virtue of placing them into more and more activity, right?
that's right. Yeah, just more incidents and opportunity. What I always recommend for families and for parents is try and rotate to different sports for a few reasons. One, you don't want to specialize in one sports. There's some studies out there that show if your child plays one sport only, by the 7 or 8 years old where they just pick one sport. By the age of about 13, they have about a 70% chance that they're not playing any sports. So you want to keep them involved. Number two, if you can multi kind of get them into multi different sports or move them around, you can at least train the body in different ways. You don't do the same repetitive muscle memory motion over and over again. I'm here in Cooperstown. You got kids throwing baseballs year round all the time. It's going to be pure shoulder and elbow injuries. And so, yes, have I done Tommy Johns on 13 and 14-year-old? Yeah, unfortunately, I have. And it's a lot from the year round baseball. But if you can rotate them to different things and not throw year round, that's a lot better for your son or daughter, and you can still make them a better baseball player. Let's say your son or daughter wants to specialize and says, well, mom, dad, I don't like any other sport. I don't want to do anything else. Well, there are ways to train your son or daughter to be a good baseball player or softball player or any throwing sport without having to throw year round. You can train your upper back, your
Mhm.
scapular muscles, your core, and even your legs. That will help you be a better player without ever even needing to throw baseballs repetitively year round.
That's fascinating, and a lot of people worry about, oh, my kid wants to get a baseball scholarship or whatever, so they have to do this. But you're right, rotating. Think about it. Listen, farmers teach us with rotating crops for the same reason, right? So you don't
That's
deplete
right.
the soil of
That's right.
too many nutrients. Same thing, and it makes so much sense to do that. You work with elite NFL athletes, and what do the professional athletes understand about training and recovery that often, all too often, younger athletes do not understand?
Well, I think you said it right there. Training and recovery. Young athletes don't
Mhm.
really understand training. They don't understand recovery. And your analogy with the crops, I use it all the time. I mean, the farmers knew that right. You rotate the crops, you let those fields re-nourish, and then you get back at it the next year. Young kids, if you let them play year round, they want to play year round. It's like my kid wanting a dessert. They always want dessert. Sometimes a parent just needs to say no. They're always, I don't know any 10, 11, 12, 13-year-old is not like, well, I want to play year round. They don't have the foresight to know, wait a minute, this may not be the best thing. And it's up to us as parents to kind of educate our kids and involve them in different activities, not keep them in the same activity year round.
Yeah. Although
And then
I'm
look,
still
you asked
happy.
about the
Yeah. Go ahead, doctor. I'm sorry.
Well, you asked about the pros, and again, to the recovery portion. Think about what we do with our professional athletes, even baseball. Look, I'm sitting here in Cooperstown. We don't have year-round baseball for pro athletes. they take a lot of time off. My partner is one of the team physicians for the Blue Jays. So I can tell you, they don't do that. I know what that schedule looks like. I know what those pro baseball players do. The demands of our youth athletes is not the same demands on our pro athletes.
Very, very good point. Very good point. And I think all too often, again, kids with such a desire to play sports, although that is still better than sitting at home and gaining weight and playing on a screen. But just like anything else, you have to do it the right way, right, to make sure that those injuries don't happen. With about a minute left, what are some warning signs that parents need to watch out for before a minor issue can become a major injury?
Look, I think a couple things you can notice. I mean, simple things. If their gait changes, they look like they're running different. I've seen cartilage injuries in young kids, and that may be one of the first presenting signs. That, yeah, I've noticed them running a little funny for the past 6 months. Coming home, soreness, asking for ibuprofen or Aleve, or, hey, I don't want to go to practice because my elbow's sore, or my shoulder's hurting. Little subtle signs like that, things that little minor changes. Kids are amazing and resilient. They can deal with a lot, and they may not have the same ability to verbalize maybe as an adult would of what's exactly going on. And those are subtle things I think parents should look for and look at just to make sure that, yeah, can you get them seen by a physician earlier? Can you keep them out there playing? And don't get me wrong, I'm all for playing sports. Look, I have 3 kids of my own, but I think doing it in a safe way, educating patients, just giving them options of what else they can do for their kids, I think is the best thing to do.
Absolutely, doctor. Doctor, what's a website for more information? Do you have a website?
I think you can go to mountainregioncommonspirit.org, and then I'm part of the sports center in Denver, Colorado, where my partners and I completely specialize in just athletes. And from the young athletes, these little 12-year-olds, all the way to the young at heart, my 80-year-olds that are still skiing 100 plus days a year. So all athletes, and we see them all, right? From the little to the old athletes. So we know how to manage all things and keep people out there. 15% of people that see me actually need surgery. I'm able to about 85% of them treat them non-operatively and keep them doing their sports.
That's the way to do it. But just keep moving. That's the key. Keep moving. Just do it safely. We love
Always,
that. And
always, you
I'm
got
so
it.
jealous of where you are in such a beautiful day. You're about 4 hours
Yeah,
north of where we are in New Jersey here. But Dr. Kareem Mayer,
yeah.
medical director, head team physician for the Denver Broncos, orthopedic sports medicine specialist with Common Spirit Health. Thank you so much for coming on this morning. Have fun with your son in Cooperstown.
You got it, Ken. See you. Thank y'all for having me.
Thank you, doctor. Appreciate you. It is 8:14 right now. When we come back, Rider University President John Loyak will join us. We're back in 2 minutes. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato at 8:16, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Sunshine, but maybe a shower today. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the full Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike. Mike's mic is off. We'll change the battery. I'll tap dance for you. It's live TV. Let's do the tap dance. Dun, 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 dun. So here, while Mike has to change the battery. This happens. This used to happen when I was at Channel 7. The mic would die every now and then. But we're going to have sunshine today. Hotter, stickier, chance of a shower for chunks of New Jersey. But it won't be long lasting. And now we go back to our friend meteorologist Mike Favetta, who always has a spare battery handy for his microphone. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Had to reset the computer, so now a mirror image. Now I'm trying to figure out: do I
Oh.
stand this way? Do I stand this way? There we go. Yeah, we're getting there. But it's beautiful weather today. You can get out, enjoy the sunglasses, enjoy the clear sky. That will be around only the umbrellas for a while. In fact, today's weather looks nice and dry and warm, with highs well into the 80s inland. It'll feel lovely. A little bit cooler at the beaches thanks to that breeze coming in from the east. But with today's winds promoting a little bit of cloud cover last night, stayed dry throughout the overnight, no rainfall. We get another round of very high UV up at an 8. And as we approach the summer solstice, we can likely get to a 9 by next week, and then briefly, right around the summer solstice, those 3 days between the 19th, 20th, and 21st of June typically hit a 10. But beyond that, we are looking beautiful for today. Clear sky all around and staying clear and dry for the next few days. So with all the sunshine today, enjoy it. It stays nice and dry with that comfortable level of humidity. As we head into tomorrow, warmer weather takes over with highs approaching 90, but I think we get into the 90s for Friday, and with all the sun around for Saturday, might spark off a late afternoon shower. The clouds increase, more humidity, muggy weather on tap for the weekend, and I think Sunday could have the best chance to see some rain. You see those storms there pass on by later on Sunday afternoon. As far as Monday, we begin to clear things out, but it's a cooler pattern into next week. We're back to that kind of unusually, unseasonably cool feel early next week. That should clear out and bring back more sun by the middle of the week, but look at this weekend's high of 95 on Saturday, really warm, and then we see those storms come in later Sunday with a high of only 87. So change is on the way after all of this sunny, dry weather, Ken.
All right. Thank you so much, Mike. 19 minutes after 8 o'clock right now. We have temperature of 59 degrees northern New Jersey, 64 in Trenton. It is 58 degrees in Cape May and 59 degrees in Vineland right now. In terms of traffic, we have a crash investigation now on I-80. This is impacting traffic eastbound, east of exit 4, which is Route 46 Knowlton. 2 right lanes closed, and look at the mess of traffic we have as a result. My goodness, that's going to cost you some time. Separate issue on Route 46, downed wires impacting traffic in both directions by Cherry Hill Road, Parsippany Troy Hills. All lanes closed. We don't have a camera shot there, unfortunately. I believe literally the cable that's down would have been the cable for the camera. So that's down right now. We can't show you the camera shot. We have a crash on the Turnpike Express lanes northbound by exit 71, which is Teaneck. Right lane is blocked as you make your way to the GWB. Garden State Parkway crash on the Parkway northbound exiting 143, Route 124 in Irvington with 1 lane blocked. Look at the traffic you have there. The folks moving from the right to the left on your screen. They're only going about 5 to 10 miles an hour. And then your approaches to the Hudson River right now, the Lincoln is your best bet. That's going to be about 30 minutes in. The Holland Tunnel approach is an absolute mess. This is from I-78 to the Holland, and that's about a 40-minute ride into Manhattan. GWB, upper and lower levels, very heavy, but still, if you don't want to feel confined, being that it's an outdoor approach and outdoors over the bridge, that's your better bet. It's about 40 minutes in, upper level on the right, lower on the left. It's actually gotten a little better than it was just half an hour ago. Well, it's been nearly a year since John Loyak took the helm at Rider University. And as the school wraps up another academic year, it's also a chance to reflect on new initiatives and student success stories and what's ahead for the university, from celebrating his first commencement as president to strengthening Rider's connection to the community and looking toward future growth. It has been a very busy first year. Joining us now is Rider University President John Loyak. We say good morning, President Loyak. Good to have you on.
Good morning, Ken.
That's wonderful to have you here. So, wrapped up a
Thank you.
year. What does it feel like? Did you do what you needed to do, or do you feel
Yeah,
like, wow, there's a
it's
lot to do
so,
yet?
yeah. Sometimes it feels like it's gone by in 8 minutes, and sometimes it feels like it's been 8 years. So, just depends on when you catch me on the day. But it has been a marvelous first year. So much accomplished, and living through the end of the semester with celebrations and graduations. We do 3 different graduations. It was just an amazing experience.
When I used to work in Florida, I remember having University of Florida's new president. This is back 25 years, and I asked him about what it was like for him, and he said the graduations are like a doctor who delivers a baby. That's the happy time, right? When you get to congratulate everybody, see the parents and whatnot. Did you have that kind of feeling when you proudly see all these people who worked so
Yeah,
hard to hit their high
we
point?
we really did, and from the ceremony of the Westminster Choir College graduation event at the Princeton Chapel to our graduation event on Saturday, where I shook 1,000 hands. It was just amazing. Everybody is so pumped up about getting through the process and moving on to careers and the experience they had and family celebration. And then in between, we had a little bit of time back on campus and everybody was enjoying that. It really is a joyful uh, way to end the first year. And, now I'm at a point where everybody would always ask me, well, do you remember how this was? And my answer would be, no, it's my first time. Graduation is the end of the first time, right? So I've now done it
Right.
all, survived it all for a year.
And the more you do it, right, the more experience you have at it. To talk about some of
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
milestones. Well, you had a lot of milestones and achievements over the last year. You want to hit some of the details of what you're very proud of accomplishing for the last year?
Yeah, I will say that particularly in the spring semester where we were able to get to some of our student-centric initiatives around student support, uh, student progression, and frankly, making the campus more engaged and interactive and fun over the spring semester with events and, date night out and all of these things that we implemented as we moved into the spring. It was great to see, frankly, all the joy on campus and the smiling faces. I'm sort of blessed. My office is in a corner with windows that look out onto the campus. So I see everybody walking by all the time. I get a lot of waves, which is nice, but a lot of smiles as we went through just a great spring semester. And, that led into all of the ceremony and the graduation. It was just beautiful. But it's really those student centric initiatives that took hold in the spring semester. And you could see that the students really enjoyed the engagement, the new opportunities, the support network, and so much more of that to come as we move into the fall.
So, President Loic, I'm sure you have a big agenda on what you want to see going forward. It's probably an agenda that long. You're like, how do I possibly get this done in the amount of time? So, what are some of the priorities you want to focus on for the upcoming year?
Yeah, absolutely. In the context of what Rider University now is, which is a first generation focused, experiential learning based, outcome driven university, you'll start to see now is a lot more initiatives around experiential learning. We just started a student centered business incubator in Trenton. We have our first 6 entrepreneur clients working with students to help build their businesses, as an example. Our kids are out in LA on internships. In fact, one of our graduates literally was leaving the day after graduation to start a career in Hollywood. All of this amazing experiential learning where students are really going to be doing what they're going to do before they have to go out and do it. And not just once or twice, but through their 4-year experience with that, which we believe really gets them ready for the outcome. And you'll see new programs. We're working on a half a dozen new programs with a big focus on health science and the need for that in this area, and frankly, the Philadelphia market that we're very close to. So you'll see a lot of that. And then we're in the process of reimagining our athletic programs and offerings. And so I think you're going to see some new news there as well. So there, as you say, there is a lot to get it to our vision of where we would like Ryder to be. And over the next, 12, 18, 24 months, you'll see a lot of that activity happening.
And Ryder is very special in that there is a real connection to the broader community. It's just a different approach than a lot of other universities offer. Why is that so important to you?
It's important because universities work best, and we did something called college town models at the last two institutions I was at, when you're not just in it for what you do, you're in it to use what you have, which is largely, from our perspective, brain power, right? And connect it to the community. The community benefits from that. They get some
And
resources and hands and brains that they otherwise wouldn't have had access to. And our students and faculty to get out and actually get to do the things that they teach in the classroom. When you can find that balance, it is a really special balance, not just for Rider University, not just for our students or our faculty and staff, but for the communities that we serve. And, we certainly will be having a focus on Trenton. It's where we started. It was our beginnings, and we're kind of focused on going home again and being very active in that community, as well as central New Jersey in general. So I think that's the special sauce when you can get that right. And we certainly have work to do to get it to exactly where we would want it. But Ryder has a long reputation, and we're really going to take that to the next level.
Oh, fantastic. Rider University President John Loyak just completing the first year there. In fact, his office still has that new office smell. It's great. Another 100 very successful years, or as many good ones as you would like, sir, and may they all be successful. We appreciate you coming on this morning, President John Loyak.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You as well, sir. Thank you. Rider University, what a great gem in the state of New Jersey. It is 8:28 right now. When we come back, a special live presentation of George Gershwin's iconic Rhapsody in Blue. The phone lines are open, taking calls at 888-658-0234. You're watching Mornings with Ken Rosato. We're back in 2 minutes. Very good morning. Wednesday, June 3rd, 2026, 63 degrees now, 8:31. I'm Ken Rosato. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. Sunshine, a little warmer today. Slight chance of a shower, highs mid-80s. a man who's not in his mid-80s, meteorologist Mike Favetta, with the full Garden State forecast. Although with two little ones running around, he might feel that way sometimes. Good morning, Mike.
At times, yes, yes, when it's 1 o'clock and neither wants to go down for a nap. But here we are. We've got great weather today. Great napping weather in the sun, right? Dining al fresco. Take that little snooze. Maybe some going to the beach today because that warm weather extends right down the shore with high temperatures in the low and mid 70s there, 80s inland. So you get the cooling effect of the Atlantic Ocean. We'll have your water temperatures coming up soon because, yeah, it is chilly still in the water, but along the seashore, you're doing just fine. With the pollen back to the high level from yesterday, the trees, the grasses high, weeds at the moderate level, allergy season continues today. And even though highs will be just above the average by 2 degrees, we'll actually see a little bit more humidity work into the forecast later today, thanks to those breezes coming in from the south and west. All right, water temperatures have warmed a bit into the low and mid 60s, but it's still chilly. Have to wait a few more weeks to get into the comfortable level, July, August timeframe. We're starting off at such a cold period thanks to this harsh winter that we had, so it's going to take a little bit longer for those temperatures to warm along the shore. As far as rainfall, that's limited to this weekend. Specifically on Sunday, best chance of seeing some rain, and then we have smaller chances by Monday and Tuesday of next week, but it's all about the dry, warm sunshine for today with the low humidity, a light northerly breeze. Any clouds or showers stay well offshore. We're looking great into Thursday. Then we get into Friday, and you see the clouds start to increase. More moisture moves in from the west, and that will lead to maybe a late night shower on Saturday as the front approaches. But the best chance of seeing some rain is on Sunday as that front pushes through. The 7-day forecast has lots of warm weather, heat and humidity building throughout Saturday and Sunday. Not oppressive. Again, it's relative to how dry it's been. It'll still feel comfortable this weekend as highs approach 95 degrees. But then by Sunday, there's our wet day with the rain on and off through the afternoon. Monday and Tuesday see some clearing. It's also great weather to head down toward the beaches, specifically on Friday and Saturday. Sunday, more clouds and showers likely at the shore, and then cooler with that rain clearing by Tuesday, Ken, of next week.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. 60 degrees northern New Jersey, 64 Trenton, 60 also now in Cape May, and 62 degrees in Vineland. And our traffic, we do have a lot of it, although some things have cleared up. That's the good news. Still on I-80 crash investigation east of exit 4, which is Route 46 Knowlton. 2 right lanes of 3 lanes closed, and that is causing the mess you see on the right side of your screen. It's going to be there for quite a while, I would imagine. That's been going on for about an hour. We have down wires, Route 46, both directions east of Cherry Hill Road, Parsippany, Troy Hills. All lanes are closed. Do not have a camera shot for that. But we have a crash on the Garden State northbound, exiting at exit 143, Route 124, Irvington. 1 lane is blocked on that. Your approaches to the Hudson River, Lincoln Tunnel, your best bet. That's 25 to 30. Holland Tunnel is a solid 40 minutes as we look at Route 139 coming from I-78 to the Holland Tunnel. Just stopped traffic, as you could see there to the right or center of the screen at least. And then the GWB approach, 8095. We are talking very heavy, but still better than it was an hour ago. An hour ago was a solid 45 minutes. Now we're talking about 30 to 35. Better bet is upper level on the right, lower level is on the left. It is 8:35. A New Jersey-based organization has spent decades helping audiences discover a deeper connection, a deeper, true connection to some of the world's greatest classics. Classical music is just fantastic, and too many kids don't get exposed to it. Well, this month, the Discovery Orchestra is bringing its unique approach to George Gershwin's iconic Rhapsody in Blue with a special live TV recording at Montclair State University. George Mariner Mall is the artistic director of the Discovery Orchestra. We say good morning and welcome to you, George.
Good morning to you, Ken. It's great to see you here.
Well, nice to have you on, sir. What is the mission of the Discovery Orchestra?
The Discovery Orchestra's mission, in a nutshell, is to help people to listen better.
And that's, wow, I'm thinking there's going to be something much, much longer than that. There you go. But so what do you mean by listen better? Because I love where this is going. Please tell us what you mean by that.
The trick is to get people to decide to give their complete attention to the music at hand and notice what is happening. So we essentially teach listening skills to our audiences so that they notice more and thereby enjoy the music so much more.
That's awesome, and it's almost like a music class, if you will, but phenomenal because how many people have heard bum 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 bum. I'm just doing in my head right now, hearing Rhapsody in Blue. But how many times we probably heard it, especially if you're a person of my age, I'm pushing 60, probably heard it 1,000 times in our life. But you, by teaching the nuances of it, I guess you're pointing out here's what Gershwin meant to say here, or here's what the intention was there, and this is why they had this particular instrument playing that. Is that where we're going with that?
Well, Ken, not so much why did he do that or this was his intention. It's just to notice. In other words, the problem is, of course, people don't really listen to music. We've been bogged down by technology, sadly, for decades and decades. Once music was available to us electronically amplified, first on the radio, and then, of course, now your phone can have an enormous library of recorded music. The problem is, do you pay attention to it or do you do other things at the same time? Is the music just sort of in the background? And it's fine to have music as a background. I mean, that's a part of human culture to have music to be there when we're dancing or eating at a restaurant or dining at home or whatever. But composers like Gershwin wanted us to pay attention from the first note to the last note. And that's what we encourage people to do.
And Gershwin was, of course, just brilliant beyond his time, brilliant, unbelievable. And Rhapsody in Blue is such an iconic piece. Why did you choose that piece?
Well, because it is so well known, it is a double-edged sword. A lot of people probably think, well, I've noticed everything in this piece already, but they may not have. And the other thing is, of course, this year, this 250th celebration year, we wanted to feature American composers. And Gershwin seemed like the top of the pick for our television show.
I couldn't believe when I looked at this number that when I was writing scripts last night, I said, it's been more than 100 years since the debut of Rhapsody in Blue. It
Yeah,
just doesn't seem like it could be that long because it sounds like a contemporary classical piece. You can't believe that that's 100 years already. And that's why I say he was so beyond his time. He's brilliant.
Yes, he was, first of all, obviously a lover of jazz. He became infected with it as a young person. And then when Paul Whiteman suggested that he write a piece of music which combined the symphonic idiom with jazz, here we had the Rhapsody. And it sounds as fresh today as it did in 1924.
Absolutely. 100%. And I'm also a lover. I studied opera just for a semester at NYU, and they told me, to television, don't do the opera thing. I really didn't. You can hear the voice is not that great anymore with age. But I'm also a big lover of jazz, and that's why I guess I was always attracted to Gershwin and the sound. I specifically love like the syncopated rhythms and hearing Brazilian jazz. To me, there's just something incredibly sexy about that music that is just can't be compared to any other style. I just love it. But and
right.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, jazz is one of our American things. It's something that we've given to the world. It has influences from all over the world, as you mentioned, the Brazilian music, and of course, the European musicians also added to this. Black musicians, of course, contributed enormously to the development of this art form.
We had a fascinating a doctor on about 8 or 9 months ago who talked about the attraction to certain musics, and it goes back to when we're in the womb, hearing the heartbeat of our mother, and how when we hear something that's offbeat, it harkens back like the core brain, the reptilian brain. It harkens back to when we were in the womb being formed, and you hear that ready, that steady beat, and how when we hear music, it literally brings us back to the womb, which I found absolutely fascinating. Have you ever talked about that before, or is that this very unique take on it by this doctor?
No, I haven't talked about it, but certainly we have this unique connection to rhythm, which is exactly what you were describing. The fact that we first detect the heartbeat and then in the last trimester, I believe all sorts of sounds begin to come in to our consciousness, even though we're still in the womb at that point. We can hear music at that point. So it gets the the process going.
Yeah, and it's such a part of our lives. I mean, every day it is such an essential part. And you're going to be joined by the acclaimed pianist Clayton Stevenson for the production. So, what makes him such an incredible performer?
Well, he is just tearing up the world right now with his piano career. He's a Van Cliburn competition prize winner, and he's just. There's something about Clayton's. Mind you, I have only listened to Clayton. I haven't met him. I've only listened to his recordings and watched his videos on YouTube. But he is such an affable artist. He really communicates beautifully with his audience, not only with his playing, but just with his facial gestures and his entire demeanor. We're really looking forward to his performance.
And it's going to be a live television recording too. So, what's that going to be like?
Well, chaotic, as they always are. You know this yourself, Ken. Television can be kind of wild, but we plan every detail as carefully as we can before this all happens. We have a wonderful staff and a wonderful crew. Our partner is Midnight Media. They do all of the recording and video, and we have a wonderful engineer to do the sound. It's complicated, as you know, but it's worth all of the trouble.
Absolutely. Well, I hope a lot of people are going to be there. I know that the Montclair students definitely want to be there, but I love this whole concept and what you're doing. Discover Rhapsody in Blue. It takes place Sunday, June 14th, 3 to 4:30, the Alexander Kasser Theater at Montclair State University. Artistic Director of the Discovery Orchestra, George Mariner Mall. Thank you for coming on this morning, and I hope it's fantastic. I'm sure it'll be a blowout. Wonderful. Have a great time there.
And thank you for having me as a guest. We hope to see all of you there.
I would love it. I would love it. And what a great theater too. It's going to be fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You bet. It is. That's going to be amazing. And George Gershwin is just fantastic. It is 61 degrees right now. 8:43. When we come back, our friends at AARP New Jersey will bring us a segment on how to navigate changes in the SNAP and Medicaid programs as we speak with the Commissioner of the New Jersey Department of Human Services, Dr. Stephen Cha. We're back in 2. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. Ken Rosato, 846, taking calls at 888-658-0234. And slightly warmer today than yesterday. Lots of sun, maybe a shower passing by. Highs mid-80s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the full Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Ken. Loads of sun today. A really pleasant feel. As you mentioned, we started off warmer and will stay warmer this afternoon as the dry weather continues, still running about half of average where we should be in terms of rainfall. And that's certainly taking a toll on the rain amounts. We're up to a 1 to 2 inch rainfall deficit across all of northern New Jersey and again down across southern New Jersey. So when the drought monitor updates this time tomorrow, we may see the severe drought extend back into northern New Jersey again. For a good portion of the spring with all that rain that we had, we're back to average levels, but now we'll continue the dry trend, at least for the rest of this week. Temperatures today making it into the mid-80s. The longer range through the next 2 weeks feature equal chances of rainfall, but we look forward to the warmer trend ahead with that shade of orange and red spreading across most of the country, even back to the west coast. So that drier feels around today, warmer still tomorrow, and then in the 90s on Friday and Saturday with some higher humidity. Sunday, plan on a pretty rainy day. It'll at least be cloudy with some on and off showers, but Monday and Tuesday bring back some slightly drier weather and then cooler weather by Wednesday, only in the 60s for a high. So a little bit of a cool down on the way after some heat comes at us, giving us a little preview of summer, Ken, tomorrow and Friday.
Well, it's about time considering summer's only a couple of weeks away.
That's true.
Nice to get a preview when it's preview time. I love when Mother Nature does that. I hope she's not offended now. All right, Mike, have a great day, sir. We will check you again tomorrow. Appreciate you as always. 62 degrees right now, northern New Jersey, 64 in Trenton, it's 60 in Cape May, and 61 in Vineland. Checking traffic now. We have down wires, Route 46, impacting traffic both directions by Cherry Hill Road, Parsippany Troy Hills. All lanes are closed. I-80, crash investigation eastbound by exit 4, Route 46, Knowlton. 2 right lanes of 3 lanes closed, causing the absolute mess you see on your screen there. Over to the Garden State. We'll take the tower cam shot, and we have an accident right now. Garden State Parkway northbound exiting at exit 143, which is Route 124 Irvington. 1 lane is blocked there, and you can see that on the traffic that's on the left side there, going from the top right to the lower left. That's about a 2 to 3 mile stretch of really slow traffic as a result. And then we have problems now making your way into the Lincoln Tunnel. That was the better route for much of the morning. Not now. Now we're told it is a solid hour. Once you get from Route 3 to 495 or off the Turnpike to 495 to the Lincoln, look at this mess. This is the Columbia Avenue approach here by 495. So those vehicles in the middle lanes there going slowly. They're on the coming off of the 495 to the Helix, and they're about 1.25 miles right where that truck is, that white truck. So that is from his point or her point up into Manhattan. It is over 60 minutes. Avoid that like the plague. Even though the Holland Tunnel approach is heavy right now, it's still going to be better. It's about 40 minutes in, making your way from 78 on 139 into the Holland Tunnel. Very slow 40 minutes, but better than 60. Certainly, that's an absolute mess. And the GWB, there we go. There's the Holland Tunnel. That's pretty heavy. Maybe some of the Lincoln Tunnel folks decided to take the Holland, so they have that delay there. But that's still, we're being told, 40 minutes versus 60. Better bet. GWB, upper and lower, that right now is your best bet. That was heavy earlier. It's lightened up. So the GWB approach is your best bet. You can see the upper level on the right, lower on the left, and that's going to cost you 35 to 40 into Manhattan. It is 8:50. The following is brought to you by our friends at AARP New Jersey. Medicaid and SNAP benefits are critical resources for so many families across New Jersey. But with recent updates and changes, many residents may have questions about what these changes mean for them and what steps they need to take to maintain coverage and benefits. Dr. Stephen Cha is Commissioner of the New Jersey Department of Human Services. We say good morning to you, Dr. Cha.
Good morning. Great to be with you.
Nice to have you on, sir. And there are major changes happening now with Medicaid this year. So explain what those changes are, please.
Sure. So just backing up, about 1.85 million New Jersey residents are enrolled in NJ Family Care, which is our New Jersey version of Medicaid. Now, about 30% of those New Jersey residents, about 540,000, got coverage through the Affordable Care Expansion, and that's exciting and fantastic. Those folks, however, will be subject to new eligibility requirements under what we call HR 1, the budget bill that was passed by Congress last year. So this budget bill creates new requirements for all those people, all those 540,000 people. We're worried, and some people have projected that we may lose as many as 330,000 New Jerseyans who could lose NJ Family Care due to these new federal burdens. And we're really concerned about that and trying to work with folks to make sure folks are tracking on that.
And for folks who may not understand what HR 1 was, under the Trump administration, there was some Medicaid fraud in pockets of the country. And unfortunately, because of a few people who were the bad guys, the good people who desperately need Medicaid now may slip through the cracks. And that's what stinks. These people desperately need Medicaid, and they may go to get health coverage in an emergency and find out, oh, you're no longer eligible. So what is it, that every few months they have to kind of renew again and kind of reprove that they need to stay on Medicaid?
That's exactly right. And so just to be clear, a lot of these changes don't start for some time. So we have time. This isn't a tomorrow thing. Most of these changes start to take effect. Certain undocumented immigrant populations start to lose coverage in October of this year. The bigger changes start in January of next year. But we want to be sure that people are understanding what's happening and what we're doing now in partnership to be sure people can tackle some of these challenges. Just as you said, we're going to have more federal burdens. They're going to have to prove that they're working, what they call community engagement requirements. And it's going to have to happen every 6 months. Most people are used to doing this every year. For that 540,000 who got coverage through the Affordable Care Act, that 30%, you're going to have to do it every 6 months starting in January. So it's good to begin the conversation now about what that's going to mean.
So your team is active right now in helping residents navigate the updates and make sure that people don't accidentally lose coverage, because you don't want to be in a catastrophic accident, find out you're not covered.
That's exactly right. So the governor's budget, which is before the legislature now, invests in systems and partnerships to prevent these unnecessary coverage losses. And I should be clear that those folks who are going to lose coverage, that 330,000 New Jerseyans that I talked about, the vast majority of them are still eligible. They're still eligible for coverage. It's just that they're not going to get through all the paperwork hurdles and burdens that are now put upon them because of that HR 1 bill that was passed. So the governor's budget puts about $10 million more to strengthen the coordination amongst state agencies and counties. And counties are the front door for a lot of these benefits. To invest in some vendors to help us modernize our systems. And it also includes $71 million, because one of the other things the bill did was just remove money from the administrative cost for the SNAP, the nutrition benefits. So the governor's budget puts $71 million to support those county agencies, again, because they are our front door for both nutrition and health benefits to get people access. So we're just trying to focus for the rest of the year to make our systems work better, to take these investments in both county partnerships and our vendors and make this work better for people. We want all eligible residents to stay on the program as much as we can.
Sadly, so many people who are on Medicaid are the very people who are unable to get the mail, read the mail, figure out multiple pages of complex forms, fill them out, get it. Those are the people that need the help the most. And unfortunately, they're the ones we're obviously most concerned about. But what should people do if they get that renewal paperwork or notice in the mail? What's the first thing they need to do?
Yeah, so we're going to be reaching out to contact all of our beneficiaries by fall 2026 of this year with more information. And again, for 70% of our beneficiaries, don't need to do a thing. Don't worry, relax. For those people who got coverage through the ACA, there's a bunch of hoops and hurdles that you have to go through, and we'll be giving you more information if those changes apply to you. But yeah, I got to say, it is hard to track mail, and we understand that's challenging. We'll have customer service lines open. We're already talking to community partners and trying to think about how we can get those messages out, talking to our providers and hospitals. But watch for your letters, emails, texts. Make sure your contact information is up to date, and be sure you open and respond to all that mail as soon as possible. We're starting to send some of those alerts out now just to get people prepared, but we do have some months before people really need to take action.
Yeah, for people who don't realize, Medicaid is almost half the budget. And not just this state, but most states around the country. Medicaid is huge because healthcare is so expensive. We kind of started to deal with it in the last couple of decades, and we kind of dropped the ball. And this is still a major problem. Doctor, if people have questions or need help with Medicaid or SNAP, where can they go? What website can they go to, or whom can they contact right now?
Absolutely. You can call the NJ Family Care customer service at 800-701-0710, or go to our website at dhs.nj.gov. So we're here to help support people. We want to make sure that your contact information is up to date, and make sure that both, and we didn't talk about the SNAP, but more than 800,000 New Jersey residents also rely on SNAP, and we're seeing projected benefits losses as well because of that budget bill. So it's both nutrition and the healthcare that we're really trying to figure out how we can move forward here.
Wow. Well, thankfully, you're on top of it and helping so many people out. Dr. Stephen Shaw, Commissioner of the New Jersey Department of Human Services. Thank you for this very important information, and thanks for coming on this morning.
Appreciate you.
All right, it's 8:57 right now. In terms of traffic, once again, just want to tell you, if you were headed into Manhattan via the Lincoln Tunnel, now it is over an hour delay. So avoid that. Holland's 40 minutes and the GWB is now 45 minutes. It's really a mess getting into Manhattan today, folks. Pack your patience. Meteorologist Mike Favetta says mostly sunny, warmer today, slight chance of a shower, highs mid-80s. And that is on New Jersey Mornings for your Wednesday, June 3rd, 2026. I'm Ken Rosato. Catch us again starting tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Till then, we thank you for watching. Watch us at onnj.com, onlaca.com, or onfla.com. See you tomorrow at 7.